sales services. Our rentals and sales agents can also you can also meet them on the Bellboy team tab. For those that may have missed any of the Bellboy webinars, for your convenience, these webinars have been uploaded to our Facebook page. Please like and share these webinars with your community scheme members. Before we get started, just some cyber housekeeping again. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type out your questions into the question box in the Zoom control panel. Shannon and I will answer as many questions as time permit. Any questions not answered during this webinar will be responded to following the webinar. Now, with any further ado, Shannon, it's over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chantal. I'm just going to share the screen. We've got a brief PowerPoint presentation. Give me a moment to share. Okay, thank you, everybody. I'm just going to briefly unpack executive managementship. It's a fairly new concept in South Africa. It was introduced when the new legislation on the Sectional Title Schemes Management Act was promulgated and came into being in 2016. I first heard about executive managementship in discussion with Professor Cornie van der Merwe, who was one of the proponents and contributed to the drafting of this legislation, at the time this was introduced by government. He said to us at the time that it made sense that owners should be allowed to appoint professionals to manage their affairs. And this was something that was regarded as a norm in many countries throughout the world. So this, while it is new to South Africa, it is not something new to communal housing internationally. So this webinar is intended to discuss the legislation creating the conditions for an executive managing agent. It is discuss the roles of an executive managing agent, and we will briefly look at the reports that are given by an executive managing agent, which they are required to give in terms of the legislation. Okay, executive management is suited for schemes where there are no active trustees, where there are no members or residents prepared to stand as a trustee, where the units are primarily investor-owned, where they require a professional body to manage and administer the scheme on behalf of the members, and where the option is more cost-effective than placing the scheme under perhaps administration. Please note, it is different to administration. Administration, obviously, the court appoints the administrator and defines what, the parameters of their decision-making abilities. But an administrator usually doesn't consult with members at all. They will make the decision and proceed. Whereas an executive manager, we will see you further on, basically fulfills the roles of trustees and will always have to consult to the members. They'll have to make recommendations, but where the members are required to make decisions, the members still make those decisions. Okay, while this is a concept that is specific to sectional title schemes, because it's in the Sectional Title Schemes Management Act, we have had a few queries on whether this could be, the same concept could come through in homeowners associations.
They still haven't fixed half of the Millbrook.
We have advised that this can happen as long as they amend their constitutions or their memorandum of incorporation. Okay, how is an executive managing agent appointed? An executive managing agent is appointed by special resolution, and they are appointed to perform the functions and exercise the powers that would otherwise be performed and exercised by the trustees. So members entitled to 25% of the total quotas of all sections may apply to the Community Scheme Ombud Service for the appointment of an executive managing agent. So this is different to the appointment of a managing agent in terms of the fact that a managing agent can be appointed by the trustees. An executive managing agent can only be appointed by members by special resolution or by the Ombud. What are the duties and obligations of an executive managing agent? An executive managing agent is subject to all the duties and obligations of a trustee under the Act and the rules of the scheme. They're obliged to manage the scheme with the required professional level of skill and care. You'll see they also have a fiduciary obligation to every member of the body corporate, indeed, like the trustees, but they have the extra requirement that they have to manage in terms of a required professional level of skill and care. They are liable for any loss suffered by the body corporate as a result of not applying such skill and care. They must arrange for the inspection of the common property at least every 6 months, and they must report at least every 4 months to every member of the body corporate on the administration of the scheme. Now, obviously, not every managing agent or executive managing agent is a qualified engineer or project manager, and they will usually outsource those inspections, but it is always good practice for them to attend the scheme as much as possible as well. Now, what is contained in the executive managing agent reports? The legislation is very specific on what has to be reported on, and I'm going to go through Prescribed Management Law 28.4, and I'll show you briefly what type of report you could expect from Bellboy should we be appointed. The reports of an executive managing agent must include at least the following details. A, the proposed repairs to and maintenance of the common property and assets of the body corporate within the next 4 months. Matters the executive managing agent considers relevant to the condition of the common property and the assets of the body corporate. The balance of each of the administrative and reserve funds of the body corporate on the date of the report, and a reconciliation statement for each fund. And for the period since the appointment of the executive managing agent or from the date of the last report, the expenses of the body corporate, including the repair, maintenance, and replacement costs, and a brief description of the date and nature of all decisions made by the executive managing agent. So you can see there is a lot of detail required in these reports. Obviously this is a lot of the details removed. We haven't put any scheme names or disclosed any details in this regard, but you can see it follows the legislation. There's a lot of appendixes to this report, management accounts, maintenance, repair and replacement plans, reports on the inspections of the schemes. So members are kept fully aware of what exactly is going on. Every decision the executive management makes, it's all contained in these reports that are sent out every 4 months. So Bellboy, as this is a very new concept in South Africa, as I started off, we currently manage 6 schemes. We are very proud of what we have achieved with these schemes. Should you require any quotation or any further information, you're welcome to contact Mark Scherer, our General Manager of the Property Management and Business Development Division, and his details are now displayed on the screen. You're also please welcome to visit our website, www.bellboy.co.za, and that contains more information on our executive management package. And please feel free to contact either Chantel or myself as well. We are always available to answer any questions. As I said, this is a brief unpacking, so we are happy to share any of this knowledge or to answer those questions you may have. Okay, that's all that we have today. Chantel, I don't know if you want to add anything further or answer any questions.
Yeah, Shanna, thank you very much for that. Just a question that is commonly asked relevant to whether, if an executive managing agent is appointed by the members of the body corporate, can the members then at the same time appoint trustees to run concurrent with the executive managing agent in the administration affairs of the scheme?
We have had different opinions on this. It is, and from our side, we require the resignation of the trustees. It hasn't worked where you have 2 heads making decisions. Obviously, because the executive management, just like the trustees, will report to all members. So because obviously when the special resolution is passed, at that time, we require the trustees to resign. They sign the contract appointing that executive managing agent. And I have read various articles on Paddocks Club where they say it's not necessary, but it is not recommended that you have the 2 bodies, because then you're going to have a conflict, and you're paying a professional to do it, and then you're also still requiring the same trustees to manage the scheme. It doesn't work in practice. And I have seen other opinions from various attorneys who say that the trustees have to resign.
Yeah, I would agree with you. So just for clarity's sake, then, if any scheme should appoint Bellboy to consider us for the appointment of an executive managing agent, we will not do it where a board of trustees is then similarly appointed as well. As it's certainly better to have one body managing the affairs of the body corporate, where there potentially could be conflict between the executive managing agent and the trustees appointed by the members. I see there is a question. Can the owners then raise problems within the scheme whenever they wish to, direct with the executive managing agent? So there could be any problems, I would imagine, relevant to dog complaints, roof leaks, and so forth. So how would that then be handled? Would the members then go straight to the executive managing agent? And does the executive managing agent then still appoint a property portfolio manager allocated specifically to that scheme?
Yes, most definitely. We do have a dedicated portfolio manager. That portfolio manager sits in consultation with the directors on a regular basis. We also attempt to attend the general meetings with the portfolio manager when we are available, but it is one of our senior portfolio managers who does manage these schemes. And yes, members must raise any issues directly with that portfolio manager, just like they would under the normal management, and then that, instead of referring it just to the trustees, that issue we refer to the directors.
Okay, I think that is it. I don't see any other questions that have been posted relevant to the executive management. And as Shannon said, if you have any concerns or any questions rather relevant to the executive managing agent and how to go about appointing, please then contact mark@bellboy.co.za. I see one further question did pop up. I just want to quickly have a look at it. It says, what fees are expected for an executive managing agent in relation to a normal managing agent?
Well, the fees will be higher. The liability and responsibilities are far greater. It takes up a lot more of our time. And so the fees are definitely higher. For costings, please contact us and we will give you our costing sheet.
Thank you very much for that, Shannon. And just as a reminder, please remember to go view our webinars on the Facebook page. And then Shannon, just in closing, do you just want to touch quickly on our next webinar that we're going to be hosting with Curasure on the 10-year maintenance plans?
Yeah, certainly. Curasure are one of the professional companies that undertake the maintenance, repair and replacement plan on behalf of schemes. They're also project managers. They do tenders. Their head office is in Johannesburg. Both the general manager will be there, as well as Paul, who a lot of our schemes, Paul Adams, he is an engineer. He conducts the business in Port Elizabeth and is locally situated. So there are various other companies, but they will be doing a webinar with ourselves on Monday at 3 o'clock. As I understand, it'll be 3 o'clock. Details have been circulated. And please join us for that, because yes, it is very important. I think one of the most important aspects in communal scheme management is the maintenance of that scheme. It improves your investment. It makes sure that you know, property is not a cheap investment. It's something that's often in many people's homes, and they take it very seriously. So to keep it maintained and to keep that value of the investment up is very important. And the purpose of this 10-year rolling maintenance plan is to ensure these schemes are maintained and that levies are sufficiently, you know, collected sufficient amounts to cover all the expenditure, so without raising special levies. So it is a very important facet. Please join us on Monday. It'll be a very interesting webinar. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. I think that wraps it up for today's webinar, and we'll see you next week for the webinar on the 10-year maintenance plan with Curasure. Thank you for attending. Thanks. Bye.